Stop for a moment. The message may not be missing. The part of you that recognizes it may simply be exhausted. Chosen one, these are not 2 literal minutes before heaven closes a door. God is not standing over you with a countdown, waiting to remove your future because you looked away. The window is more personal than that. It is the brief space where something true reaches your attention before habit, fear, and distraction pull you back into the same pattern. And perhaps that pattern has been repeating for longer than you want to admit. You ask for direction. For one moment, something becomes clear. Then your mind produces 10 reasons not to trust it. You ask for another sign and another confirmation. Soon the clarity you briefly felt is buried beneath the effort to prove that it was real. This does not mean you are faithless. It does not mean you have been forgotten. A sincere person can still become overloaded. A spiritually sensitive person can still lose focus. A devoted person can still confuse intuition with fear. When the receiver becomes tired, guidance does not always disappear. Recognition disappears first. That is the first truth you need today. Before this message ends, you will understand why the mind can hear a truth without acting on it. You will learn a 3-part test for separating grounded guidance from anxious urgency. You will also discover a practical way to help intuition, reason, and action work together again. The symbolism of Archangel Michael is not panic. It is courage, protection, and discernment. So test this message with wisdom. Keep what leads toward clarity and peace. Release anything that asks you to surrender judgment. I cannot tell you what God has decided for your life, but I can show you a pattern that may explain why the answer still feels beyond reach. The more frightened you become about missing your moment, the harder your mind scans for danger. The harder it scans, the more neutral information feels threatening. Every choice starts to look risky. Every delay starts to feel prophetic. Every strong emotion starts pretending to be intuition. That is why panic cannot be your compass. Genuine direction may challenge you, but beneath the challenge, it creates a quiet steadiness. Anxiety multiplies possibilities. Clarity simplifies the next step. Anxiety demands certainty about the entire road. Clarity gives enough light for one honest action. Hold that distinction. For now, place one hand over the center of your chest and take a slow breath. This breath will not solve your entire life. It only creates one moment where fear is not doing all the speaking. Say this quietly: I do not need to chase what is meant to guide me. I am willing to become clear enough to recognize it. If that choice feels true, write "I choose clarity" in the comments. Do not use it as a superstition. Do not use it as a transaction with heaven. Use it as a marker that you will no longer let panic make your decisions. A private intention grows stronger through conscious commitment. Stay. The next distinction will reveal whether the voice you follow is discernment, conditioning, or fear-wearing spiritual language. Once you see the difference, you may realize that you were never abandoned. You were divided inside, and division can be healed. 3 voices may be speaking inside one crowded mind. The first is intuition. The second is anxiety. The third is conditioning. That is why a strong feeling is not always a clear signal, and why certainty can vanish only hours after it first appeared. Intuition usually arrives with simplicity. It may ask for courage, but it does not need to frighten you into obedience. Anxiety speaks faster. It creates 10 futures at once. Conditioning repeats what you learned from fear, approval, rejection, and old survival patterns. Each voice uses your own language. You may want to leave a relationship, but you cannot tell whether the impulse is wisdom or pain. You may want to begin a project, but you keep asking for one more sign. You may wake with a clear idea, then spend the afternoon explaining why it cannot work. The problem is not always a lack of information. Sometimes the information is already present, but your mind cannot recognize its meaning long enough to act. I call this the recognition gap. It is the distance between what is in front of you and your ability to understand what it requires. The gap grows when attention becomes divided and every decision is checked against fear. Outside voices become louder than observation. You collect messages instead of testing them, and you seek certainty instead of building discernment. Listen carefully. You are not broken. You may be overloaded. Those are not the same thing. Broken means there is nothing to work with. Overloaded means too much is competing for the same space. A crowded room does not prove the truth is absent. It only makes the truth harder to hear. I am not diagnosing your health, and every spiritual struggle does not have one cause. Grief, trauma, sleep loss, illness, and stress can affect clarity. But shame often makes confusion worse, while understanding gives you a place to begin. Here is a simple test. Ask what the voice does to your inner state. Does it make you steadier, or does it make you frantic? Does it reveal one responsible step, or does it create 10 imagined disasters? Does it invite honesty, or does it demand that you ignore consequences? Conditioning sounds familiar. It says, you must be perfect before you begin. It says, change will bring rejection. It calls rest lazy, boundaries selfish, and uncertainty dangerous. Those thoughts can feel spiritual when they are only old instructions. This is where the recognition gap becomes dangerous. A clear idea appears, conditioning attacks it, and anxiety demands more proof. You search again, the signal weakens under analysis, and the delay becomes new evidence that you are lost. But delay is not always destiny. Confusion is not always prophecy. Sometimes, you simply need less noise and a better test. Ask 3 questions. Does this direction create steadiness? Does it respect truth and responsibility? Does it make the next honest action clearer? If you are willing to stop treating panic as prophecy, write steady in the comments. Let that word remind you that urgency is not authority. Before you ask for another message, you must understand why the receiver itself can become weaker over time. To understand that, we need to return to a version of you that existed before noise became normal, before every idea was judged, and before imagination was separated from intelligence. What faded may not be your gift. It may be your access to it. You may have called this silence. You may have called it rejection. You may have wondered why prayer once felt alive, while now every answer seems distant. The feeling is real, but the meaning you gave it may be wrong. The absence of felt guidance is not proof that guidance is absent. When people feel disconnected, they often blame themselves. They pray harder, search longer, and compare every thought with every sign. But if the receiver is already overwhelmed, more searching can create more interference. I call this the silent receiver. It is not a spirit. It is not a curse. It is the state where guidance may still be present, but stress and divided attention make recognition difficult. The message does not always disappear. The ability to hold it, test it, and act on it becomes weaker. Stress changes what attention looks for. It scans for danger. Neutral events feel loaded. Delays feel personal. Silence feels like punishment. One uncertain decision can make your entire future feel threatened, even when the next step remains available. The cost is deeper than discomfort. You may hand decisions to strangers, trust dramatic language over quiet truth, and delay necessary action because no sign feels strong enough. Real guidance should return responsibility to you, not train you to surrender judgment. Here is the reframe. God may not have stopped speaking. Your receiver may need care. That does not make you weak. It makes you human. A tired mind can miss what a rested mind recognizes quickly, and a frightened mind can turn a simple next step into an impossible maze. So begin with a method called name, narrow, next. First, name the real question. Do not ask what will happen to your entire life. Ask what decision is actually in front of you today. Clear questions reduce the space where fear creates endless stories. Second, narrow the decision. Remove every future that is not required right now. You may not need to know where a relationship will be in 5 years. You may only need to decide whether one honest conversation must happen this week. Third, choose the next responsible action. Make it small enough to complete. Make it honest enough to matter. When possible, choose a step that can be adjusted after new information appears. Clarity often grows after movement because reality gives feedback that imagination cannot provide. Picture tomorrow morning. You resist searching your phone for another answer. You write one question, narrow it to one decision, and choose one action before noon. You send the message, make the appointment, open the document, or tell the truth kindly. Your direction is no longer hidden. You have stopped using uncertainty as permission to remain frozen. Nothing supernatural needs to explode around you. Something important has still changed. You have moved from endless searching into honest participation, and that movement gives clarity a place to grow. Try this now. Name the question in one sentence. Narrow it to one decision. Choose one action you can complete today. Do not ask whether that action solves everything. Ask whether it moves you one honest step closer to truth. There is still a deeper problem. Even a useful test can fail when the capacity to connect intuition, logic, memory, and action has been weakened over time. What if the gift did not leave you? What if the access became unreliable? That question will take us back to a version of you that noticed patterns quickly, imagined freely, and acted before fear demanded perfect certainty. Before we go there, remember this. You are not being asked to force an answer. You are being invited to create the conditions where an answer can be recognized. Before you trust any strong inner signal, it must pass 3 gates. Not because faith is weak, but because discernment protects what faith receives. A message that deserves your trust should not need panic, pressure, or blind surrender to control your next move. The first gate is emotional quality. Anxiety rushes you. It says, act now or lose everything. It makes one uncertain choice feel like the end of your future. Grounded direction may still feel serious, but beneath the weight, there is stability. Ask yourself one question. Does this voice make me more responsible or more desperate? A true next step may stretch you, but it will not require you to abandon your judgment. It may ask for courage, yet it will leave enough inner space for you to think, test, and choose. The second gate is moral coherence. Guidance that leads toward truth should not demand deception. It should not ask you to ignore boundaries, manipulate another person, or excuse harmful behavior. A spiritual message that removes responsibility is not wisdom. It is permission wearing sacred language. Ask what the direction produces in your character. Does it make you more honest? Does it help you respect consequences? Does it protect both courage and compassion? If the answer is no, do not call intensity a sign. Intensity can be emotional without being true. The third gate is practical fruit. After one small step, does clarity increase or decrease? Do you become calmer and more capable of action, or more dependent on endless confirmation? Grounded guidance should help you participate in your life. It should not trap you inside constant interpretation. This is the sacred signal test. Emotional quality, moral coherence, and practical fruit. Use all 3. One gate alone is not enough, because fear can feel powerful, conditioning can sound familiar, and desire can make almost any message feel personal. No person online should demand authority over your destiny. No video should tell you that leaving means losing a blessing. No spiritual teacher should require you to silence your judgment. A useful message returns discernment to your hands. This includes the message you are hearing now. Test it. Keep what produces clarity, responsibility, and peace. Release what does not. Mature faith does not fear examination, because truth does not become weaker when honest questions are asked. If you choose discernment over desperation, write, "I test the signal," in the comments. Let those words become a reminder that you can remain open without becoming unprotected. You can listen deeply without surrendering your mind. There is another layer most spiritual conversations never address. Researchers studying how the two sides of the brain communicate found that creative recognition, pattern detection, and integrated decisions depend partly on how well different mental functions work together. A New York neurologist and his team later developed a short auditory protocol intended to support that coordinated state. I will explain what they created after you understand why so many adults lose access to a capacity they once displayed naturally. For now, hold one question. What if you did not lose your gift, but lost reliable access to it? The trail begins in childhood, before you learn to divide imagination from intelligence, and before fear trained you to distrust what once came naturally. There was a time when your mind moved differently. You noticed patterns without forcing them. You imagined possibilities before asking whether they were practical. You tested ideas through play, curiosity, and movement. The world had not yet taught you to separate intelligence from imagination. Then, conditioning begins. You learn that one answer is rewarded while another is dismissed. You learn to avoid looking foolish. You learn to silence an idea before anyone else can reject it. Over time, creativity becomes something you visit instead of something you naturally use. Modern life adds another layer. Screens divide attention. Constant switching keeps the mind reactive. Poor sleep weakens patience. Stress trains the body to scan for danger, while judgment makes experimentation feel unsafe. None of these forces must destroy your capacity, but together they can make access less reliable. This is especially important for sensitive people. Sensitivity may help you notice subtle changes, emotions, and patterns. But sensitivity without stability can become overload. A gift does not automatically create discernment. It still needs a system capable of organizing what it receives. That is why more information does not always create more clarity. You can collect messages, books, signs, and techniques, yet remain unable to connect them into one responsible direction. The problem is not always knowledge. Sometimes the problem is integration. I call the return of that integration the whole mind return. It is not about becoming a different person. It is about helping intuition, logic, memory, emotion, and action stop fighting for control. When they begin cooperating, insight becomes easier to test and easier to use. The whole mind return changes that relationship. Intuition notices a direction. Logic examines the risks. Memory provides context. Emotion reveals what matters. Action gathers real feedback. No single part becomes your ruler, and no useful part has to become your enemy. You can begin supporting this state before using any special tool. Choose 1 hour each day as a single channel hour. Turn off background content. Stop switching between tasks. Write one question at the top of a page, and remain with that question long enough for your thinking to deepen. Do not demand a revelation. Notice what becomes possible when interruption is removed. You may see a connection that constant noise kept breaking apart. You may discover that the answer was not hidden, but unfinished, because your attention never stayed long enough to complete it. Picture yourself sitting before work you have delayed for months. The old version of you waits for certainty. The integrated version begins with one clear piece. An idea appears, logic gives it structure, and action turns it into something real before doubt can erase it. You no longer have to choose between being spiritual and being practical. You do not have to defeat reason to trust intuition. You can let each capacity perform its proper role, while responsibility keeps the whole process grounded. The question is no longer whether this capacity can fade. The question is whether it can be deliberately supported again. To answer that, we must look at the habit that keeps many sincere people trapped. They keep trying harder, while the receiver becomes more exhausted. Many sincere people respond to confusion by adding more effort. They pray longer, collect more practices, and force themselves to focus. They turn healing into another demanding project, then feel guilty when they cannot maintain it. The result is not always clarity. Sometimes it is spiritual exhaustion. You may recognize this pattern. You begin a meditation while checking whether it is working. You listen to an audio while thinking about the result. You miss one day, then decide you have failed. Each new method becomes another test of your worth, instead of a tool that supports your life. Trying harder is not always the answer. Effort matters, but effort needs the right condition. A divided mind can use more effort to create more division. An overloaded receiver may not need another complicated routine. It may need less friction and a more consistent doorway. Here is the reframe. The next level of clarity may not require more force. It may require a better condition for effort to work. This is why a short, passive routine can be useful for people who already feel mentally crowded. Give yourself what I call 8-minute permission. Choose the same time each day. Use headphones. Close your eyes if it is safe. Do not multitask. Do not chase a special sensation. Let the practice be simple enough that your mind does not have to fight another battle before beginning. Before the session, write one word for your current state. You might write foggy, restless, clear, tired, or focused. After the session, write one more word. Then note the next action that feels most responsible. This keeps your attention on patterns instead of promises. Earlier, I asked you to hold one question. What if you did not lose your gift, but lost reliable access to it? We can now begin closing that loop. The researchers I mentioned were not trying to manufacture a spiritual experience. They were examining the coordinated state where different mental functions work together. A short auditory protocol was later developed to support that kind of integration through sound. Now the deeper picture is clear. God did not have to abandon you for guidance to feel distant. You did not have to lose your intelligence for thinking to feel slower. You did not have to lose your gift for access to become inconsistent. The problem may be a tired and divided receiving state. The answer is not panic. It is discernment, reduced friction, and consistent support. Spiritual clarity still requires humility. Cognitive clarity still requires care. Both require you to remain responsible for what you choose. In the next part, I will show you the specific tool built around this idea. You will hear what it is, how it is intended to work, what its creators claim, and what you should examine before making any decision. Do not worship the tool. Do not fear it. Do not expect it to perform the work that still belongs to you. Evaluate it with the same sacred signal test you have already learned. Look for coherence, responsibility, and practical fruit. With that foundation in place, you can consider the method without desperation. You can ask whether 8 quiet minutes fit your life, whether the explanation makes sense, and whether the terms protect your choice. Then you can decide from clarity instead of pressure. Do you remember the question I asked you to hold? What if you did not lose your gift but lost reliable access to it? The answer begins with research that changed how people understood the human brain. In 1981, Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize for work involving the divided brain. His research showed that the two hemispheres perform different functions, yet human ability depends on communication between them. One side supports language and sequence. The other supports patterns, images, and wider connections. The strongest state is not one side defeating the other. It is coordination. The product presentation connects this idea with whole brain activation. It claims that children display strong creative capacity, while few adults preserve the same access. Examine those figures yourself. The simpler point is that stress and divided attention can weaken integration. A woman from California described feeling foggy and hopeless before finding the method. She had tried prayer, journaling, and meditation, but could not feel the reality behind the words she believed. According to her account, something cleared after about 10 days. She felt guided again, without forcing a stronger spiritual performance. A man from Texas carried business duties and family needs until brain fog felt normal. Prayer had begun to feel distant. According to his account, after about 2 weeks, his thinking felt fuller and clearer. These are personal experiences, not guaranteed outcomes. Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York City, presents an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence called the Genius Switch. The stated technology is neural sync technology, designed to support communication between the two hemispheres. The routine is simple. Use headphones. Close your eyes when it is safe. Listen for 8 minutes each day. Access is sent digitally after purchase. This is not medical treatment. It should not replace sleep, therapy, medication, or professional care. It is positioned differently from ordinary soundtracks and meditation applications. The claim is that the sequence supports whole brain synchronization rather than simply creating a temporary mood. This is not for someone seeking a magical button that removes responsibility. It is for the person who wants intuition, logic, creativity, and action to work together again. It is for someone willing to give 8 quiet minutes each day, then observe the results honestly. The listed price is $49, while the current page presents a discount to $39. 4 bonuses are included. 1 is a guided visualization, exploring money, love, health, and happiness. Another is a smart grocery shopping guide with food guidance and shopping shortcuts. You also receive a classic manifestation book and a printable 5 habits infographic. The file states that access is permanent after purchase. It also presents a full money-back guarantee even after repeated listening. Read the actual terms at checkout because conditions and pricing can change. A guarantee reduces financial risk, but it does not prove that every person will experience the same result. Perhaps you have tried other audio methods. That concern is fair. The described mechanism is whole brain synchronization. Read the explanation, examine the disclaimer, and judge the experience by practical fruit. The reason to act is not that heaven will punish you tomorrow. Another month of collecting messages without changing your receiving habits may produce another month of confusion. The file warns that the $39 price may increase, but verify the current amount before purchase. Use only the official website linked in the description or the pinned comment. The file states that the authentic product is not sold through Amazon, YouTube, or Spotify. Avoid copies using similar names. Read the claims, the terms, and the guarantee for yourself. If this 8-minute protocol fits your present season, you can begin there. If it does not, keep the principles you have learned and continue with wisdom. The choice should come from clarity, not fear. Whether you use that tool or not, do not lose the deeper truth. Your task is not to chase a louder message. Your task is to care for the condition from which you listen, test, and act. A tool can support that process, but it cannot replace discernment or responsibility. No purchase proves your faith. No audio can make choices for you. The value of any method appears through consistent use and honest observation. If you decide to try the 8-minute protocol, begin without demanding a miracle. Give the practice enough simplicity to become part of your life. For the first 3 days, listen at the same time. Use headphones. Close your eyes when it is safe. Do not multitask. Before listening, write 1 word for your present state. After listening, write 1 word again. Then name the next responsible action you can see. The words may be simple: foggy, restless, clear, heavy, focused. Do not force a positive answer. Accuracy matters more than optimism. You are collecting a pattern, not trying to impress yourself with progress. From the 4th day through the 7th, watch 5 areas. Notice focus, mental fog, creative connection, emotional steadiness, and follow through. Keep the rest of your routine as stable as possible. If you change 5 things at once, you will not know what created the difference. After 7 days, review what you recorded. Are decisions becoming simpler? Are you finishing more of what you begin? Are ideas connecting more easily? Are you calmer when uncertainty appears? These questions matter more than whether you felt a dramatic sensation during the audio. You may feel nothing unusual. That does not automatically mean nothing happened. It also does not prove the method worked. Measure practical fruit. Look for changes in attention, clarity, and action. Stay honest in both directions. You may worry that this is superstition. The method is presented as an auditory tool for cognitive support, not as a spiritual ritual. It does not summon guidance, guarantee wealth, or activate a blessing. Your faith remains your faith. The tool remains a tool. You may also fear being misled. That concern deserves respect. Use the official page only. Confirm the seller. Read the guarantee. Save your receipt. Review every claim before paying, and never let urgency replace judgment. The official explanation for the 8-minute tool remains linked below for those who want to examine it. Read before deciding. The goal is not a rushed purchase. The goal is an informed choice, followed by consistent use. If you are ready to let intuition and reason work together, write whole mind in the comments. Let those words mark a change in how you approach your inner life. You do not have to make one capacity defeat another. You can ask them to cooperate. Now, we can return to the sentence that may have frightened you most, before your moment passes forever. That sentence needs to be released from panic, because your moment is not a threat hanging above you. It is an invitation to stop repeating the pattern that kept you waiting. Your moment is not a threat. It is not a door that God closes to punish you for looking away. It is the place where awareness meets choice. A moment becomes meaningful when you respond differently from the pattern that once controlled you. You came here afraid that something might pass forever, but the deeper danger was never one missed video. It was letting panic interpret every silence, delay, and uncertain decision. That habit made you search outside, while discernment became quieter. Now you know another way. You can test emotional quality. You can test moral coherence. You can examine practical fruit. You can ask whether a direction creates steadiness, protects truth, and reveals one responsible step. These tests do not remove mystery. They protect you inside it. Guidance can feel distant when the receiver is tired. Attention may be divided. Intuition and reason may be fighting instead of cooperating. None of this proves that you were abandoned. The condition of listening deserves care. Remember the version of you that noticed patterns and imagined freely. That capacity may not be gone. It may need protection from constant noise, fear, and interruption. The whole mind return begins whenever you allow intuition, logic, memory, emotion, and action to serve one honest direction. Courage means taking the next right step without demanding the entire road. Protection means guarding your attention from panic and manipulation. Discernment means testing every message, including this one, before trusting it. Say these words slowly. I am not abandoned. I am not ruled by urgency. I can test what I hear. I can care for the mind through which I listen. I am willing to take the next honest step. You do not need to feel powerful. You only need to remain present. Confidence often arrives after action, not before it. Look at the question that brought you here. Name it clearly. Narrow it to the decision that exists today. Then choose one step that respects truth and responsibility. Send the message, make the appointment, open the document, ask for help. Rest when rest is the honest action. Do not wait for the step to feel dramatic. A changed life is often built through ordinary actions repeated with greater awareness. One clear choice can interrupt a pattern that has controlled years, because movement gives reality a chance to answer what fear only imagines. If this message helped you replace panic with clarity, write "My moment begins with one clear step" in the comments. Then name that step privately. Complete it before this day ends, not to earn a blessing, but to practice becoming someone who responds. You do not need to know the entire road tonight. You need enough clarity for one honest step. The door is not demanding panic. It is inviting participation. Protect your attention. Test the signal. When peace and responsibility point in the same direction, move.